This is Shane Sweet. I'm here today with Erik from Constant Contact. He and I met, 7 years ago now, Erik. He's out of
It's
the
been a while.
Albany, New York area. Erik he's active with Constant Contact. He's got a consulting business out of the Albany, New York area. Used Constant Contact when I was at the New York Association from 2014 to 2019. And I had Erik come and speak many times, I recall, at New York Propane Association face-to-face meetings. And Erik, I was thinking about you this morning. I still have. So anyway, Erik's going to talk about the power of the inbox. He's been with Constant Contact for quite some time. Yes, Erik?
Yeah, it's over a decade now.
Oh, well, there you go, everybody. So I'm not going to tie this up any more than I already have. So take it away, Erik.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And it's wonderful to be here with your group again. And today we're going to talk about email marketing and why it's important. And, it's in terms of digital marketing, there's, you got to have a website and you've got to be on social media and you should be using video and maybe some advertising, but email marketing still has a very important role to play, especially if you're selling to other businesses. Then it becomes even more critical. And so today is a fairly introductory type class to talk about a little bit why email marketing is important, but more some kind of best practices so you think about how you can use email marketing, or if you are using it, how you can do it better. And in some respects, I almost want to use the term email communications rather than email marketing, because I don't want you to think about this whole topic of email about like selling online. That's not really what we're talking about. So it's more communicating and informing and educating your customers so that they know who you are, they remember you, they know what you do, they know how to get a hold of you, they know, they can order. And, 2020 made it, absolutely crystal clear that we all need to be to some degree e-commerce ready. So that's what we're going to try and do today. Okay. So there's a lot here in this presentation, and just so you know, I will give a copy of these slides to Shane and his team, and so we can email these out to you, because there are a lot of information, a lot of resources and stuff like that. So we can send these to you. So email works everywhere, and that's really important. Just about everybody in the world today has a mobile phone, right? And the most popular app on the phone is your email. And again, especially if you're trying to get to businesses, if you're B2B, email may not be a great tool, but it's still the tool we all use. So it works everywhere. The conversion rate is terrific, and there's a number of reasons for that. And the ROI, the return on your investment, is unbelievable, because email marketing or email communications are very inexpensive, even if you're using a sophisticated tool like a Constant Contact or something like that. But results or research shows that if for every dollar you spend on email marketing in terms of your time creating the emails, email system, all these costs and everything, you're going to get $44 or more back in sales. And so that stat alone should just say, I should be doing this. Why not? Too. And the statistics again are just, unbelievable. More than 9 out of 10 people check their email daily. Again, especially the people that are, in businesses, it's just the central form of communications. And almost 90% regularly check their email on their smartphones. So, again, it's just something that, people get it, they check it, they read it, they use it. It's just, it works. Okay. So again, here's kind of what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about why email marketing a little bit, which we already kind of did, but and then harnessing the power of the inbox. How do you use this, have this be something that's truly worthwhile and valuable to your business, and sort of putting all these things together here. So just quickly, why am I here in front of you and why are you listening? Is I've been doing the digital marketing for over 25 years now. I started doing this in 1995 in Silicon Valley, and I've been at it ever since. Now I'm based in New York. I've had my own company for a long time now, over 15 years, and we do this kind of digital marketing for other companies. There's all my contact information. And then, here's a little bit about our company. Looks like our website is kind of blued out, but we are a full-fledged digital marketing firm. So if you need any help in this sort of thing, we're happy to answer questions or help whatever you might need help with. So let's think about this, that first impressions do matter. Okay. So, you can almost boil that down to looks matter, and not to be flippant about it, but if your email, if your website, if your advertising look really good, then, people are drawn to that. And conversely, if they don't, if you have a outdated website and you're drawing advertising on on a piece of paper or whatever, these things do matter. And so using a tool like Constant Contact, you can send emails that are like the type on the right versus the type on the left. And the thing to remember is that, think about your own use of email or even the web in general. You click through things pretty quickly. You get a lot of emails, so you open it up and you look at it quickly. And if you get an email like the one on the left there, it's long, there's a lot of text to read. I don't know, it depends who it's from. I may not read that, right? It's like, well, I don't really have time to read 4 paragraphs of text. But on the right, I happen to be a big cyclist. So I open that and I'm like, ooh, bikes, helmets, cool stuff, right? And ooh, shop now. And right away, that's a whole different reaction. And so this looks matter concept is something to think about, because we need today to communicate via images, via video, via color, via not black and white text. That it just doesn't grab people as much and stand out enough. So thinking about kind of regular email, right? Like your Yahoo email or Gmail or Microsoft Outlook kind of emails, there's not a whole lot you can do with those. You can send text, maybe put a link in here and there, put an attachment, but that's about it, right? There's not a whole lot there. The key thing also is that you really don't have tracking capabilities to understand what is happening with those emails after you send those. So if you look at these emails with Constant Contact, for example, you've got colors and images and video and buttons and it's branded to your firm. So even if people don't read it, they'll at least see your name and logo and your colors and all that sort of stuff. But the other thing is that we can track the results. So we know what is working and what is not working with our customers. And that is the invaluable piece of data that we need to do better, to grow our business, to continue to meet the needs of our customers. So the question we always get is, okay, well, great, we're going to do some email marketing, but how do I grow my list of email contacts? Well, you have to ask. You do have to ask for email contacts, email information, right? So how do you do that? Well, there's a lot of different ways. So we do want to make sure that there's sort of that we operate as a permission-based email marketer, right? That we're going to communicate with people, but we are going to respect them, right? And their privacy. We're going to give them the ability to opt out of our emails, to unsubscribe from our lists. We're going to do things that are, within the boundaries of, good behavior and permission-based marketing, and follow the FCC guidelines, right? And using a tool like Constant Contact, you actually are, the Constant Contact kind of forces you to do that, to offer a ability for the customer to opt out, right? Among other things. So we want to, when we are asking people, whether it's in person or online or in print or whatever it is, hey, we'd like to, add you to our email list, but just know that you can always get off it. Okay, so that's really important. But there's a number of different ways that you can get people to sign up, right? And so these are things that we want to make sure that we do, so we can build our list. And so, whether it's in person at an event and we're, asking people, or when they're making a purchase, we can collect their information, something like that. If it's print, there can be signage at our location, or, on our business cards, or things like that. Constant Contact actually has a really neat tool to use to let people use text to sign up for your system, for your email. So that's really neat. And then, online in the typical places, you could have that sign up form on your website or on social media or in your email signature, things like that. So these are things that, to help us collect email addresses. And so I don't want you to think that you need a large email list to get started. If you start with your current customers, and maybe you start to grow that towards, even past customers, that's going to be a really good start. People that already know you, and they kind of expect to hear from you. So if they do hear from you via email, it'll be okay. It's not going to be intrusive. But why do they subscribe? How? You've got to tell people, you got to give them value for this, right? So what are you going to give them? You're going to maybe tell them that they're going to get some discounts, or, special promotions or things, or it's a good way to get support from our company or things like that. Or, maybe there's exclusive content, tips about, propane safety, or maybe cooking even, right? Recipes, barbecue, stuff like that, home heating, things like that. People are always looking to learn, right? I mean, that's why we sign up for things like this. That's often why we're using the internet in the first place, is to find something out. So those are things that we can give people to make it worthwhile that they are our email list. Now, when you're giving this kind of information, and this is sort of the oldest tip in the world from marketing, about marketing, is, you've got to put yourself in your customer's shoes, right? You've all heard that, but it's really hard. And we forget, because we say, well, we want to promote that we're having a sale, or we want to promote that we're expanding to a new area, or offering a new product or service, or, we just want to drive sales. But what do our customers want? What do they need? And if you can speak to them and help them solve their needs, or their wants, or help them learn and do things, they're going to appreciate that. That'll sort of smooth the way towards being able to sell them something, right? So it's very difficult, but if you can speak directly to your customers and directly in their language, then you will be successful. One quick idea or tip, I suppose, would be you generally get a lot of the same types of questions from people, right? From customers. So turn those questions into content that you can turn around and put in your email or put on social media, and that's what people want to hear from you. So start with that, and then, maybe down at the bottom of the email, you can say, here's a coupon for 25% off your next purchase, or whatever it is. Anyway, so that's really important. Put your customers' interest ahead of your own. So so sort of the same thing here is write for your audience, right? That's what we're saying. So if you do not do that, you will not be successful, right? And here's where I'm giving you proof that if you think of email marketing as email sales rather than email communications, which we really should be thinking about, then you're not going to be successful. And here's what's going to happen. People are going to unsubscribe because they're being sold to. They're going to unsubscribe if it's boring. They're going to market it as spam if it's not relevant to them. Okay. So again, it's the easiest thing to say is, walk a mile in your customer's shoes, right? We all know that. That's how we're going to be successful. That's how the best businesses are successful, but very hard to do. We keep forgetting. So anyway, let's just show people what you can do, okay, and help them sort of do things easier. So when we think about, okay, well, I get that, we're going to do that. Let's create our first email. What are we going to put in that email? Well, think about it kind of like this, right? This is sort of the Constant Contact's rule of threes. So maybe 3 articles, maybe 3 images or less, maybe 3 calls to action. I think that should probably be 1 or 2 calls to action, maybe even just 1. But think about a couple of useful articles that are informative, educational, newsworthy, things like that as the main part of the email. That's what we want to think of as an email, as the content of an email, right? It's not your promotion. It's not pictures of your business. It's not the coupon or the buy one, get one free or whatever like that. That shouldn't be the focus of it. The focus of it should be useful stuff, interesting stuff, articles, right? You don't even have to write them. They can be articles from other places, which is perfectly okay. And use images, not too many, not big ones, and make sure that they are royalty free, right? Don't use one of Getty's images without permission. But that's how it's going to work. And what this shows is we should have very few links or buttons in an email. If you have 1 link or 2, one button or link to something, maybe 2, maybe 3 at the most, right? That's getting to the point where beyond that, people just aren't going to read it. Okay. And that's why we say 3 articles, maybe 2, maybe even just 1, but not more. The days of, having an email newsletter where you've got, it's like a mini Wall Street Journal with 15 articles and links and all this sort of stuff, that's past. That doesn't work these days. Okay. So less is more. And we really need to know that. Again, what should I write about? What should I include in my newsletters? You get lots of questions from your customers, often the same questions or similar questions over and over and over. Those questions should form the content of your newsletter. right? It's what they're interested in. It's what they're concerned about. It's what they want to know more about. And so you can turn those into interesting content, right? And so here's a couple of tips for that. Okay. It's always good to use numbers in your content. So, top 3 ways to do this, top 5 ways to do this, 5 easy ways to do that, because it's finite. People look at that and go, oh, I can look at 5 tips, right? If you don't give that kind of finiteness, then people will be like, well, I don't really have time to read a long article. So you've got to remember that people are most likely looking at this article or looking at your email on a mobile phone. They might be looking at it, during a meeting, right? They're looking at this under the desk during a meeting, right? Or while they're driving, unfortunately. So keep it simple, keep it, focused. That's really important. And remember that images are very important. They're very, very important because, as much as 90% of information is processed by the brain as visual. And so we want those images, the colors, the branding of our email to be very appropriate for us. Even if they glance at it quickly, they'll start to remember us and start to remember that, oh, our color is this, that's that company, right? And you can think of things like that, right? Exxon and Mobil are blue, right? Red, white, and blue. Sunoco is yellow, right? Or Shell, right? Is, yellow. So, we start to associate the colors with brand. So those are things to really, really remember. So again, with the images, you do be careful about copyright issues. There's some really good royalty-free websites out there that have lots of images that you can use. So those are kind of easy to find. So don't just pull images off the web. A couple of other tips here is people expect when they see an image, whether it's on your website or in an email or on social media, that they can click on the image and it will go somewhere, right? It'll be clickable. So, make your images in your email clickable, because we want to get them back to our website, right? We want to get them back to our blog, right? To read the rest of the article, things like that. So think about that. How do we get people back to our website? Okay. And don't give people too many choices. That's why the famous sales training is always, you give them high, medium, and a low option. Don't give them a whole menu of options. Give them 3 packages. Give them, keep the choices similar or to a small number, and drive people where you want them to go. So let's see. Here's again sort of the branding part of it. With a tool like Constant Contact, you're automatically sending things that are mobile friendly versus desktop friendly as well, right? So it's either way, it's going to show up in whatever inbox you find yourself in. It's going to be appropriately formatted, right? And so that's really important. And again, because we want our emails to look good, we want to have them enhance and reinforce our branding. And especially if we're a smaller or newer company, we've got to establish that brand recognition with our customers so that they remember us. They come to us when they need, whatever we're selling. The other thing is when people are sort of cruising around quickly, to the website, a website, to social media, to email, things like that, with your emails and all your other stuff, it should all be matching that branding, right? The branding should all be very similar and instantly recognizable. So when people get an email of you and then they visit your website, they're like, oh, it's the same, right? This is the same company. Customers are very fickle, and they, if they get confused, they're just going to leave, right? So if they get an email from you and then they visit your website and they're like, what is this, the same company? And if there's any sort of doubt or confusion, they're just going to leave. They're going to close your website. They're going to leave that email. They're going to, go to another social media site, whatever. And, that it might have been your chance to get them as a customer. And that's it. So we've got to sort of do everything we can to build up that brand recognition so that we turn these people into customers, repeat customers over and over again. We want people to buy from us. So what are a couple of options here? Think about different types of uses for email, right? So there's newsletters, there's announcements, there's particular promotions, and in today's day and age, as much as possible, people want to be able to do things online on their own time and without talking to anybody. So if you can get them to place an order or schedule a service or an appointment or whatever it is, give them the ability to go through that whole process online themselves. And with Constant Contact, you can do that. And it's fully integrated with e-commerce and appointment scheduling and all sorts of things. Do have a little bit more information on what Constant Contact has sort of at the very end of this thing. So again, here's sort of a simple recipe for success. So if you're either new to email marketing or just trying to improve what you're doing, here's sort of a good way to look at things. So a single column template, single column email. Okay, so it's one column, fewer than 3 images. Maybe you got the one big image up top and then you've got some text. Now, this is not to say that you cannot write longer articles or give people more information. It's just when they open that email, it shouldn't be a whole page of text. So give them a few lines and then say, read more here. And there's a number of reasons for that, but that's the best practice. That's what works. So just a couple of links, maybe 3 to 5 links in terms of buttons or hyperlink text, those kinds of things. And if possible, put any sort of action that you might want, right? If you want them to click this button to get a deal or schedule a call or appointment or whatever, put that sort of above where they would see it before they have to scroll down. So, in the newspaper world back, I don't know, 20 years ago or whatever, everything is, they say above the fold. Well, now it's above the scroll line. So again, same principle there. Okay. So we put the important stuff up front, any sort of action way up front and at the top, because we want them to see what we, right away before they have to scroll or open or anything. This is what we want them to do. Boom, hit there and then go. That's what we want to get people to do. And that's how we should think about this. A couple other things to think about is, when you see an email in your inbox, whether it's, on your desktop or on your mobile phone or whatever, you really have 2 pieces of information, right? You know, who's it from, and then the subject line. So obviously the subject line is very important. How do you get people to open your email? And it's got to be short and compelling and, some sort of action. And there's some other tips that we'll talk about in a second. The other thing is who's that sender? Where's this email coming from? And in Constant Contact, for example, you can say exactly who's sending this. And so you can put a name and then an email address, and they'll see both, and you can customize that. So you want people to, maybe they see the name of the person, maybe they see the name of the company, and then the email address itself. So you want to give people a reason to open this, right? And that's real important. So again, this we just talked about that. So a lot of people, they're either looking at the from address or the subject line. That's really the only things that you see before you open an email. But lots of people are looking at that subject line saying, oh, well, what's in this, right? What is in this email? What is it worth reading? You sometimes it may be appropriate to say, hey, this is the March or April newsletter, right? But if it's something else, if there's some sort of special that you're trying to share with people, or some certain type of information that you're sharing in this email, put that up front in the subject. And again, if you can sort of be clever about it, or really engaging, or something like that, consider that and try and see how it works. So a couple of tips there also is keep that subject line short, 30 to 40 characters kind of thing, 6 to 10 words. You can also control what's called the pre-header text, which is sort of that second line of the subject line, more or less, that you see. So you can control that as well. But there's a pretty good email there, right? So you open it, you see it's this Half Moon Yoga Studio. There's their logo, and then it says right away, boom, and this is a workshop. And then there's a nice image, and that sort of, it's pretty clear that this is what you're talking about, right? And if somebody looks very quickly at this, they'll still get your name and what you're talking about, and maybe they'll say, well, I'll come back to that. But this is kind of how we want to think about things. Now, there is the challenge of sort of spam, right? Of you landing in the customer spam folder. And it's not that likely that people will find it if they don't typically check their spam folder. So there are some terms to kind of stay away from that a lot of servers will typically just flag and then put you into the spam. So we don't want to be that. You see spam, right? You've all seen spam. You all get lots of spam. It's things that is like all capital letters, or lots of like punctuation marks, question marks, or things like that. It's like that's spam, right? So don't do that, right? We don't want to do that. So the other thing is all capital letters. Most people sort of take that as yelling online. So you don't want to yell at your customers. So don't use all capital. There are a bunch of ways, again, to sort of increase the rate at which you get your emails read and get interaction. And so for example, having a video on an email, people watch videos because it's a lot easier than reading, right? They also generally can see how long it is. So if they open up an email and they see that this video is like 1 minute and 40 seconds, it's like, well, I can probably watch that. Looks kind of interesting. If you have all those social media buttons and you link to your social media, that actually increases your click-through rate. So there are things like that we want to know and recognize so that we're as successful as possible. The thing also that I alluded to very early on is that with a system like Constant Contact, you can look at data. You can see exactly, how many emails were sent out, how many people opened them, how many people clicked on which links, so you can see what's happening. What is, I'm going to put this email out, send it, and then I want to find out who read it, and was it interesting? Was that the right type of information that my customer wants to read? And so that's the kind of stuff that you will get better at this once you look at the data. Just like looking at Google Analytics on your website will help you get better at creating a website that customers want to read and want to visit again and again. So you've got to look at the data, review it, understand what it means, and then make decisions about what else will work, what else can we try. And the clicks, things where they click to go somewhere else, is very instructive. It's very illuminating. And so remember I said earlier on, if you have a long article, you still only want to put a little bit of it in it, and then you want to have a read more button. One of the most important parts of that is, yes, we want just a little bit of the article to kind of hook them, and then they click and read the rest. The other thing is we can measure the clicks to get people, that of those people that go back to, our blog or whatever to read that article, then we know for sure that those people were interested in that. And so now we can measure those clicks. And if we get a good percentage of clicks, then we know, well, that was an interesting piece of article for our audience. And, this is something they are interested in. So let's do more of this. So it's that click-through rate that's really important. And then, so here's a couple sort of tips here. So open rate, the number of people that, they get the email, and then the people that open it. This will start to help you understand, gauge the interest of your email, help you figure out, what time of day or best days do people get it, right? And look at it. And so those are some of the things that you can learn. Again, clicks, very important. You can see what kind of content works for you. And then there's people that did not open your email. Well, there's certainly those people. And, you've got to then say, okay, well, how can we get our emails open? We need to show more value in those emails. We need to give them, more reason to open those. So again, this is the data that's going to be very helpful in terms of figuring out why people are opening or not opening your emails. The unsubscribes are people that, are saying, okay, well, I want off the list, and they are going to be given an option in Constant Contact to say, why did they unsubscribe? So, and then you will have that information available. So if it's, the information is just not interesting or whatever reason they give, then you can sort of think about that in terms of adjusting your email marketing strategy. So bounces. So this is all data that you get in Constant Contact. You see an enormous amount of data from what is happening about those emails that you send. You see whether they were opened, you see whether people clicked on things, whether they unsubscribe from your list. Bounces are emails that did not get to that inbox. So they, that inbox may not be in existence anymore, right? Or it may be full, or things like that. So you can look at that and say, oh, well, there may be some, maybe you typed it in wrong or something like that. So, you can kind of look at that and see what happens. So, here's kind of a couple of tips here. If you have a low open rate, there's a couple of things you can look at. You probably want to look at, having a recognizable from name on the email. Improving your subject lines is going to help a lot. timing your emails for like matching it with the season kind of thing better, so the timing of when you send your emails is obviously very important, not just sort of, whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but the seasonality, and there's deadlines out there, or there's, 4th of July is coming up. So what are you going to do about that kind of thing? So these are all factors to kind of think about, right? If you have a low click rate, meaning, people aren't really clicking through to any, they're not doing anything once they see your email, can you create a better call to action? Can you sort of give people a better way to, or better reason to take some action? Your email might be too long, so keep that email, a little shorter if you're trying to get some action out of people. Another important thing to think about here is consider segmenting your email list. Not everybody is the same, and not all of the people on your email list are the same. So, how can you separate them and then speak more directly to them? And the most successful people are generally going to target their email list, and they're going to, have specific offers or content or things like that going to different specific groups, because they recognize that just not everybody is the same. So it's very useful to send more targeted emails to more specific kinds of people. Again, if you have higher metrics in a certain ways, like you have a very high open rate, or you have a lot of clicks, learn from that and see, what's happening, right? Are there some like super fans that open every email kind of thing, or super clickers that they always click on something? Those people you might group into another section, and then you'll be able to email those people more often, right? Because they're more open to this kind of thing. So hopefully these tips kind of helped. And here's sort of a good summary ideal email might look like, and it's all things we discussed. It's it's got the good subject line, it's got the the good from name text line, it's got it's branded to the colors of your companies, so people remember those colors. There's a call to action that's very clear, and it's like you don't look at this email and go, well, where do I click, or what do they want me to do, or that kind of thing. It's there's a button that says sign up today, right? So it's these kinds of things that again, people are moving quickly, they're not going to read every single word, they're going to skim through. But if they catch some of these things, it's more likely that they are going to read more of it and remember more of it. So there's a good kind of summary, like cheat sheet almost, if you will. Just quickly, I just want to make sure to kind of, as we wrap up, and we are getting right there to the end of the time here, is Constant Contact and ourselves have partnered with Shane and the virtual Propane Expo to have a partnership where the members of the virtual Propane Expo can get Constant Contact at a discounted rate and kind of special services. But just so you know, Constant Contact, which started as the email marketing company almost like 25 years ago, there's a lot more to it. They basically have the whole online marketing suite of tools right all together. And it includes, you can build your website in Constant Contact very easily. It's very inexpensive. You obviously have the email marketing tools. You've got complete social media integration, as well as social media advertising. They have a logo building tool, which is completely free for anybody. And then they've got full e-commerce capabilities. So again, we should all be thinking about e-commerce and how we can do more of this, or give our customers the way to do more things online. And Constant Contact has a lot of those tools. So I will open it up for Q&A and see if there's any questions out there. I did just want to say that here's a couple of the benefits that we've arranged with the virtual propane expo. So there's you get a number of discounts. You get a free email template, email uploads, and all this other stuff and all of that. So there's a lot to it. And then we've also provided a number of free digital marketing tools and resources. Again, we'll send you these slides, and you can, click through to see some of these resources for you. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have, or, give you any help you may need.
So Erik, Shane here.
Yes, sir.
I started using Constant Contact pretty heavy about 7 years ago when I was at the New York Propane Association, and I inherited a list of about 200 contacts, and then shortly thereafter I got connected with you. And when I was done after 4.5 years, our weekly newsletter was over 2,000 records every 7 days. And I attribute a lot of that to how easy Constant Contact was to use. We shared the platform in the office, so we had 2 or 3 people working on the content at any given time, which was made things easier. But it was very easy to use, and I really believe that that's one of the reasons why our membership, grew by 45% in that period of time, because you guys made it easy to use. It was a great product.
And I think they've done a really nice job of improving it and making it easy to use, and it works. It's email is an important way to stay in contact with customers, and so it works. So I don't know if there's any questions from the audience or anything like that you want to ask, or otherwise we are going to be teaching classes on a pretty regular basis here with the virtual propane expo, and we're very excited to be a part of this, and we're here to help. So we're here to help people with questions, with getting started, with improving what they're doing, and we love working with this group. So
we're very happy to have Constant Contact as a services partner in 2021. And as Erik said, we're going to have Erik's going to be a regular fixture here. I think Erik, we're doing once a month. Is it the third Thursday of the month? Yeah. We're going to do something with Erik, typically running 30 minutes, give or take. And so, Erik, thank you very much.
I did post the link. Sure. If you are interested for Constant Contact, I did post it in the comments, and also Erik's information as well. And I am 2 seconds away from sharing a link where you can actually book a call with Erik to see, to talk more about going more in depth as well. And if you give me 2 more seconds, I'll post what we're doing next week. I believe it's, Erik, what's next?
Boy, I've got the list right here. Hopefully I can find it quick enough.
So that great big list that you sent us with everything that you're able to present, will you send that to me, and I will attach it for everyone who's pre-registered and who's attended to this, just to get it out, because this information is so important. Just knowing like little tidbits, because we've been working with Constant Contact, sending out e-blasts, and I was like, ooh, maybe our title, our subject line's a little too long, so you start thinking about tweaking it and making it better.
We've never been accused of that.
No, yeah, Shane.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I tell you, but by the end of our sessions, if everybody comes here, they're going to have a master's degree in digital marketing. So we got a lot of great stuff. Next time, we're going to talk about how to turn your small, mid-sized business into an e-business as much as possible. So that'll be next time. I think that's on April 30th.
Well, thanks again, Erik. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Erik. And we'll see you. It's actually on the 15th, but we'll send that out so people can re-register. And it's the same link. So it's a reoccurring link. So thank you, Erik, and I'll see you next month.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.